What's up everyone, Matthew Scott here, welcome to MCR Powerhouse, and today I'm going to talk to you about recovery essentials. Now this is something I've actually discussed with a lot of local gyms over the past couple of years in seminars and presentations, and I thought I'd share some of this information with yourselves who's following my Facebook and YouTube pages. So in regards to a recovery essential, let's just say you're developing a pack of items that you'd like to keep with you either at the gym or at home to allow you to recover from muscle stress, tension, and even maximize your range of motion to complement stretching. Let's talk about the first item that you can actually buy if you were interested in developing a pack in a sense. The first one is a massage ball. Lacrosse balls tend to be perfect for this. They're the right size, they're the right density, but you don't necessarily need to have a lacrosse ball in order to do these movements effectively or the recovery techniques with them. For example, you can sit on one of these balls and it can actually take a bit of pressure off the muscles, the bottom muscles, and take a bit of pressure off your lower back. You can also push this into the top of your shoulder against a squat rack or a post. I call this one the rugby scrum technique, and that's great for loosening tension in the upper traps and taking pressure off your head and even decreasing headaches. You can use just a typical massage ball. They're like the bigger ones with spikes on them. They work just fine too. I recommend that you don't use a golf ball or a tennis ball. One, because I find the golf balls tend to be a bit too small and the tennis balls tend to cave in very easily. Another example of something you could use is a cricket ball, but I find that the cricket ball is very slippery. Whereas the texture of a lacrosse ball tends to be pretty on point. It works really well. Item number 2 that could be very useful to have in your rehab recovery mobility pack, and that is a foam roller. So whether it's just a blue PVC pipe, whether it's just a blue foam roller or a PVC pipe roughly the size of those big stormwater drain ones, they're all definitely going to be effective in loosening up the muscles throughout the body. Many of the techniques that you can use I have posted in the past. Feel free to check out my past clips on Facebook. I've also put up a couple of clips on YouTube in the past too, so feel free to check them out and you'll find plenty of useful and effective ways to use these rollers. You can buy either the shorter ones, which are about half the size, or the bigger ones. Personally, I say it comes down to just preference. Should you buy a smooth one or one with the little spikes or little grooves on them? Short answer, no, it doesn't make a difference. The only real difference, if I was to pick anything, is that the flat one allows you to cover a greater amount of surface on the muscle when you're rolling over the top, whereas the spiky ones tend to be really good at targeting and pinpointing certain trigger points. For example, if your thigh is tight and there's one area that's particularly tender, the spiky rollers tend to be really good for things like that. Whereas if you're generally just rolling to help with recovery, then you could just use a flat one and that will just loosen up the entire muscle. So in the end, it's going to come down to personal preference. Now, let's talk about once you've loosened up all the muscles, maybe you want to actually do some movement of the joints too, so that the capsules, which is basically the group of ligaments that are keeping the joints together, are moving well too. Now, you can use things such as these, super bands. These have many uses, and granted, if you were to go down and buy something like this at the shop, you're probably looking at about a solid $50 at least in Australian dollars, and you're probably looking at about $35 for something smaller like this. But I would definitely recommend investing in these, and the reason why is because these ones are great for smaller joints of the upper body. So if you're trying to improve the range of your wrists, like bending back and forth comfortably after you've, say, for example, foam rolled your forearm and it's not quite getting the range that you're after, you can use one of these bands and certain techniques to help you improve that range. They're great for corrective exercises. So there's an exercise I give a lot of my clients called crab squares, where you're doing little sidestepping using the band between your legs. If you're having a hard time picturing these exercises, just let me know in the comments below and I can show you a diagram or give you a bit of an explanation of what I'm talking about specifically. With the thicker bands, these ones are great for loosening up, say, the hip capsule and loosening up the capsule of the ankle. So again, when I say capsule, I'm referring to ligaments that attach bone to bone together. So sometimes they can get a bit stiff and they can affect your range. So no matter how much stretching you do, no matter how much rolling you do, if you still kind of got that bit of stiffness there, that's where these bands come in handy. This is also very useful for when you're trying to develop the strength to do wide grip pull-ups, or you're trying to do some sort of muscle up but you can't quite get there. Something like this can help you give a little bit of an assistance just on the way up, and then you can slowly progress off something like this and move on to a lighter band, or nothing if you're just strong enough to just go from one to the next. Okay, so now I'm going to go a bit off track here. Let's just say you've done all that mobility stuff and you find you're not still quite getting the range of motion that you're after, and you're like, I've done everything right. I've been rolling and sitting on the massage ball and using it on my shoulders and doing all that twice a week consistently, and I'm still not quite, say, hitting a split position well, or I can't quite touch my toes. There is one other thing to take into consideration, and that is that your body will not go in a range it cannot control. So range of motion isn't always just about how loose and supple your muscles are or how well your joint capsule moves. If your body doesn't have the coordination to make it do a certain movement, in the sense of like your deep core muscles tightening up to control the position, it's not going to do it, and it won't let you do it. And that's where strength and supple muscles and mobility come in handy, will go in handy. You know what I'm trying to say. That's where suppleness and muscle control come in handy together. So I hope you enjoyed the clip. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Till next time, keep it strong, keep it simple. Catch you later.